The snow is blowing, the weather outside is frightful. The snow is not delightful. It's piled higher and deeper. The kind of snowfall that you would like if you were a kid and you had a toboggan. Or you're a kid with a shovel and you built a snow fort. Yeah, that kind of snow. Needless to say, my good friend Jim was unable to make the trip. And that means there's an opportunity for me to wax eloquent on things that I find interesting. Whatever my good friend Jim would chime in with his 2 cents worth. I'm going to go with Anderson Cooper for 200, Johnny, and say that there is a little kerfuffle going on. And the kerfuffle has to do with Anderson Cooper, who, sometimes I like and sometimes not so much. I didn't like his New Year's Eve where he gets intoxicated. New Year's Eve show with his friend tended to get a little over the top for me. But, a straight shooter. Unless you're, of course, some kind of conservative religious type, in which case you would say that Anderson Cooper was raised by a witch in New York State and that his bedroom was full of satanic imagery. Well, yeah, there's a whole other side to explore. If you're a conservative religious person, that's the kind of stuff that you buy into. For me, it's art. Art is art. And Anderson Cooper delving into journalism and being a host of a news program on CNN, that's the kind of stuff that interests me. Not the conspiracy theory stuff of right-wing fundamentalism of religious stripes. What's going on with Anderson Cooper? The stuff hit the fan. He used the expletive. Well, not really. I mean, as far as insults go, it's not really, well, it was inappropriate on TV, but I've heard all kinds of stuff going on TV news programs that I never thought I would hear in my lifetime. All kinds of slam dunks and misinformation, not just misinformation, but inappropriate words, terms, derogatory, demeaning stuff that just you wouldn't find in a newscast. Anderson Cooper using one? It's not the F-bomb. What did he call him? And who did he call? The answer is a Republican. Got called the D word, as in fun with and Jane. I don't know, sounds like stick but has a D at the front. That's what he called him. Who did he call? Governor Sununu, who's ran against Trump as a nominee for the Republican Party. He's a Republican governor. And part of what I would call the wannabe, used to be, latest, greatest hits kind of Republican. Used to have something to say about Trump. Used to think that Trump was the worst thing ever. And then suddenly turns and kisses the ask me no questions, kisses the ring, whatever image you want to find. There's a lot of bending of the knee and perhaps other ways of expressing this obeyance, this thing that they kowtow to the orange Jesus. I don't know how that works. But people who used to have character and principle, and if you go back and look up Governor Sununu and you listen to his words about Trump, he wasn't too kind. And yet he's kissing the royal, ask me no questions kind of thing lately. And so that's where they got into it. The idea that Anderson Cooper had on his show was the question of DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, which is Musk's baby under Trump, or is it Musk's baby and Trump is under Musk? I don't know which way it goes. But the idea is that there is efficiency to be found, and Elon Musk is doing it. And he's finding the efficiencies, and isn't that great? And Anderson Cooper and the guest that he has at this round table had something else to say, and I'll use that to cue the clip.
It was surreal, but I got to tell you, I know what you're not showing here. Musk gave 7 specific examples off the top of his head of where the corruption and fraud were. I know you didn't play the clips. He was talking about a contractor that had a 3-month contract. He was paid for 20 years. He was talking about welfare benefits that were being paid to someone that was technically 150 years old. He was talking about line items in the Treasury that had no justification.
There's no any he doesn't present any actual evidence.
Well, he's standing there in the Oval Office. Do you expect him to come in with 10,000 pages? And I have to be clear, to complain about this administration about transparency, when this president takes open questions on a daily basis, yet Joe Biden didn't show up for a press conference says 6 months is insane. These guys are being extremely transparent. They don't have to sit there and take the questions, but they do. It's all on the website. It's all out there.
It's not transparency to say things that have no factual background. I mean, to say we're cutting, we've found $1 billion or $1 trillion in waste with no specifics, that's just talk. That's not transparency.
It's 23 days in here, guys.
23 days in, and already chaos is oozing out of every brick and mortar of government in the United States. Chaos rippling north of the border to Canada, over across the Atlantic to Europe, over to the Middle East and Gaza. Chaos. But is that the intention? Well, to focus back on Anderson Cooper, I wanted to look at that just because I'm interested in how news gets, shall I say, massaged, how news titles get massaged, how it's used for clickbait, how it's used to get people's attention and interest. For me, it was a human interest story. I'm interested in the journalist, the reporter, the news anchor, Anderson Cooper, and I'm interested in how he manages a roundtable of guests on CNN. I have not followed CNN for a long time, but I do have an interest in Anderson Cooper, and I want to see what's going on. So when the stuff came to my attention, hitting the fan, so to speak, on social media, and I follow all of this stuff on Blue Sky, not on Twitter. I've given up on Musk and what I would call manufactured consent on the right. Musk is not fair player in terms of messaging. Definitely on the right side of things, definitely autocratic leaning, fits well with the Trump autocracy. But Anderson Cooper, looking at this Governor Chris Sununu, was really interesting to me because he lost his cool and used profanity, which he later, as the gentleman I know him to be, apologized for. And for the governor's part, he said no offense was taken. So it's all up on, up and up. It's above board. There's no subterfuge in it. What I found interesting was Governor Sununu, the Republican, whose lips are firmly planted on the orange Jesus posterior, doing the about face from when he was running against Trump to where he is now, from extolling the virtues of DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. When I look at Jeffrey Toobin's remarks, I sort of agree. You can say whatever you want. And Governor Sununu said, well, you expect him to show up to an Oval Office meeting and with 10,000 pages? Well, don't get me started on showing up with 10,000 pages, because Trump's people from Trump 1.0 showed up with boxes of what they called all the plans for replacing Medicaid and Medicare, and the pages had nothing to do with that at all, but they showed up. They made a big stink of it, showing up with 10,000 pages, boxes and boxes. But we forget all this stuff. So Sununu, waxing eloquent on 7 instances which he recites from Elon Musk in the Oval Office, without evidence. And there we go. This is the rub for me. You can say anything you want without evidence. But if you provide evidence, I will listen. No evidence? You haven't got my ear. Convince me. Use some evidence, use some reason, and you've got my ear. But Sununu drew blanks. Just like Elon Musk, it's fine to list things. You can list anything you want, make it all up, as Trump often does. Make stuff up without evidence. And that's where we run into trouble. The new Trump 2.0 has a lot of proclamations, a lot of stuff, executive orders, a lot of this and that. But where is the evidence? And that's where we run into problems. You can say you're saving $2.3 billion a day using the Department of Government Efficiency and their hack and slash band of little hackers that follow Elon Musk around. But I am wondering, really, what's going on? So apprehensive is a word that I would use as a safe word, but it's more than apprehensive. It's worrisome to me. Worrisome that democracy is falling. In fact, it has fallen. What we are seeing is the result of an ongoing coup. The coup began in Trump 1.0, and I find it interesting. I went to check out the Department of Government Efficiency website to see what they had posted. And then I went to the whitehouse.gov to see what they're posting, and they have titles like, "The Trump administration follows the law." Really? There was a release of an American hostage. One voice for America. Memo to the press. Hundreds of billions of dollars are fraudulently spent every year. Memo to the press. Where's the evidence? Show me the money. Because I can tell you Elon Musk benefits to the tune of billions of government funding for his SpaceX. Don't tell you that, though, does he? Does he tell you that the offices of the government that he is investigating are the ones who were investigating Elon Musk for fraud? That's a little bit of a tell. Maybe it's a flag. Whatever's going on, it doesn't seem to be above board and doesn't seem to be transparent at all. So you need evidence before you say, oh yeah, we justified hacking and slashing this department, that department. We've broken the government Consumer Protection Bureau. We no longer want to people to check. Consumer Protection Bureau, do you know that Musk is into DOGE currency, right? That Bitcoin kind of stuff. Did you know that the Consumer Protection is investigating Trump's Bitcoin currency? Also under the name of DOGE, DOGE. Yeah, could that be the reason Musk is going around lighting fires and burning stuff down with a hatchet, hacking into government databases using his band of merry hackers? Lots of stuff to explore, and if you aren't worried, well, you're not following the show. You're not following the program. Get with it. Let's look at stuff. It's breaking under our feet. The ground is shaking. And where will it go? Well, if you're a religious type, you're looking for the apocalypse. I'm not sure I'm there, but I am concerned. The Jim and Terry Show without my good friend Jim. Snow. We're buried under a mountain of it.